Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome back to Talk the Walk with me, Sarah Wong. We have Mr. Chip Tsao with us to look back on the year of 2021 and forward. Thank you very much, Mr. Tsao, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Now, you're just talking about the election and the presidency of Joe Biden being your top three events of the past year. I was wondering, how would you grade his first year in office, and especially on the subject of US-China relations?
I think this is a bit of a different style. The containment of China is being upheld. That was adopted by Donald Trump, his predecessor, right?
Yeah.
I think China-US relations are going to be badly influenced on the issue of Taiwan. Right? I think military pressure would increase, and there would be a bit of diplomatic brinksmanship from both sides. The U.S. would have a few more issues to look after, things like Ukraine and even Burma, and kind of military expansion, South China Sea, and the kind of economic ambitions on the Belt and Road, so that the Biden administration would be forced to be a little bit more aggressive, to take up more initiatives, such as launching its own Belt and Road campaign together with Europe. Right?
Yeah. Do you think that? Yeah. But do you think issues like?
Yeah. Go on.
Please go on. Oh, okay. I'm just thinking. Do you think the issues of Ukraine and, like you said, Burma, and there's so many geopolitical hotspots issues today that kind of related to the United States, but wouldn't necessarily make it to its priorities. So on the list of the United States, do you think China will still be on the top place of that list?
Now is on the very top, right, of the list of global concern by whatever American administration, by whoever who is in White House now, right? So I think Biden would have very, very serious issues to consider and to be concerned. Because he faces the real crisis of the American dominance of the world as the World Cup being on the decline. The leadership of the American government is being challenged, I think, mainly by China, and as Ukraine is getting a bit of becoming a bit of a hot potato, America face the risk or the prospect of possible two wars, you know.
Yeah, China and Russia.
Yes, with two formidable rivals, China and Russia, and this has never happened before since the end of World War II. Right. So I'm not sure Biden is young and energetic enough as president to cope with these great challenges, right? Apart from the economy, apart from the pandemic in the country, and also his ambitious New Deal plan to improve the economy by such a investment on a gigantic scale on the domestic infrastructure, right?
Yeah, of course. And I guess we'll have to keep an eye on the 2022 midterm elections and see whether the Republican Party will retake the Senate and possibly the House of Representatives as well, and see where we go from there. Now, I want to, switch gear to a more cultural and philosophical perspective in our review of the past year. Now, throughout the long river of human and philosophical development, what do you think is the what are some of the lessons and the wisdom that we can retrieve from history that can answer some of our questions today?
I think America and the West would have to seek back common sense in face of their own civil war going on at home, right? It's the rise of the so-called cancel culture, right?
Yes.
And the woke campaign out of radical political correctness, right? I think they have more problems to look after at home than perhaps outside, right? So it is going to provide a cultural vacuum in the midst of confusion by so many people that whether the Western civilization is on serious decline, and so many things are being turned upside down, right? Statues being removed, the curriculum being cancelled, freedom of speech under threat domestically because someone is not welcome in expressing certain points, things like that, right? Radicalism ideological radicalism in the West, especially in America, is that concerns me very badly, right? If you can't settle the scores at home, your rivals or enemies abroad would see that as the biggest weakness or blind spot to take advantage on. I don't think the Biden administration, together with his vice president, is strong enough to settle too many questions, at home now. Right?
Yeah, some would say they're the enabler of this kind of cultural phenomenon instead of a formidable force to counter or to right the course. Now, you talk about the cancel culture and the wokeism in the Western world, which also recently we've seen that happening in France and also in European continent. With that part of the cultural direction maybe heading toward a wrong path, but what about the culture in the East? What about Chinese culture, nationalism? Is that a right direction, do you think?
Well, nationalism is being inflamed as a political weapon to unite the country, because I think a war against Taiwan is definitely on the agenda of the present political leadership. To do so, they must have strong domestic support. They have to do it on a very high morale. And I don't think they're sure they can achieve all these. So they're cynically making use or exploiting the internet to tighten up the control of speeches and ideas and thoughts, right? So that the internet war will become worse in the coming years, right? So I don't know. There'll be the mainland Chinese and the Hong Kong people will be more divided because so many news and opinions are being controlled, right, behind the smoke of the internet. So if nationalism is fanned up that way, it's not going to bode well to the world and to the image of the Chinese people in the world, right?
Well, now we're looking forward to 2022. What is that one issue, if you have to pick just one issue that you think that would deserve more attention and probably thoughts and debates than it has already gotten right now? And what message do you want us as a society to carry forward to the new year?
I think one word I have to say I'm very concerned about in the coming year. That's control, right? And in free countries, including the United States and countries in Europe, you can see an invisible hand of socialism, of economic and political control becoming stronger and more visible. Sorry.
It's fine. Yes.
Become stronger and more visible in the name of COVID, in the name of pandemic. People are told to wear masks. They are told to stay in or out, whether they like it or not. And there's so many, uncertain news on the authenticity of the mutated virus now, how harmful or how harmless it's going to be. So, I mean, that kind of control, the pandemic gives it the best excuse, the pandemic presents the best excuse for a new form of socialism in countries of freedom, even like America, right? So, no, I don't know the fate of mankind, how it's going to turn, right? Under this global shadow of control. I mean, let alone Beijing, right? China, people say, is becoming like a nightmare stage of 1984. It's taking the lead in such control on all fronts, and other countries follow. And that's why you can see sporadic protests or even tiny uprisings, in main cities in Europe. People are getting impatient, but they are not interested to know what's going on in the world because they're addicted to their own comfort zone on the internet and on the mobile phone. Now that's a big crisis. That's a crisis unseen since the end of the Second World War.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just about to say, if I may, I want to add that this kind of extreme governmental control in America, for example, under FDR, has essentially faded away after the Second World War because the war ended. But the pandemic is different because it could, if it became an endemic, it could go on for a very long time, and we won't know whether that kind of governmental control, when would it recede, right? Now, okay, I'm told that that's all the time we have today, right now. Thank you very much, Mr. Cho, for joining us again and share your words and your wisdom with us. We appreciate it very much.